I think mine is going to be a little bit more different than the correlation of their actual relationship. But I won't date a woman who did not have her father there ever. I will never do it.
Right.
Because, like, especially now, as a father of a girl, I understand how impactful that love is. And I understand, like, the way my daughter looks at me, she will never look at no one else that way, not even her own mother. So if that is absent in a woman, I feel like that is potentially a recipe for disaster for her to go down the wrong path. It's a void that I believe can't be filled by anything else. It doesn't matter how much money, it doesn't matter about a step parent, it doesn't matter how good it is. It's something that is empty that she may never know that it's empty. But it's an emptiness within inside that has a lot of potential to be detrimental to that person's character and day-to-day life. And I don't want to take on that burden dealing with that because I know that there is nothing that I can do to help fill that void. I mean, it is because somebody else's pain is like,
I was about to say, well, if you don't want to date someone that you know is going to be a burden to you.
But you don't know it until you're dealing with it. And then you're like, well, you start
There
to
have to be red flags.
Well, yeah, but we think that the red flags could be like, it's like the doctors. You can have a cough and you can be like, okay, it's a cold. And it turns out that it's cancer. You know what I'm saying? Like, it goes both ways. It's like, I thought I could cure this and I thought it wasn't that bad until you realize that this is life-threatening. And oftentimes you don't really know until you persist and keep on going. And as you keep on going, you're going to develop feelings and you're going to actually, you might even develop a family with this person.
Well, you got to be able to walk away if the shit don't work.
What if you have a girl who just has a bad relationship with her father? Not that the father was absent, but, it wasn't the most impactful relationship in her life. What now?
I dated a girl who had a bad relationship with her father. And the bad relationship with her father, I was there while she was going through this bad relationship with her father, right? Her father and her mother started getting divorced, and her mother was basically feeding her all of the negative information about her father, and ultimately she started hating her father, right? And throughout the course, I dated her for 2 years, and throughout the course, I felt like, and this is just my opinion from the outside looking in, as just a recipient, I felt like I started being treated different. Like, she started looking at men differently because of her father, because of what her mother was saying about her father. And, we started having problems and, that eventually ended. So I think that it's having a bad relationship with your parent, it could be beneficial. Like, sometimes people use it as motivation and we do see all these success stories and whatnot. But I personally, I'm not trying to take on that.
Like, I have so much to say, I don't know where to begin. My brain is just like, literally. I'm not gonna say that your opinion isn't valid, but being a woman that was raised by my mother, and my dad was around when I was a kid, but once he did get incarcerated, it just sucks that you could say that basically a woman that was raised by just her mother is not as. She doesn't deserve the love from a man. Yeah, she didn't have that man that protect. That's basically what you're saying. Like,
I didn't say a man. It's just saying, I said this man.
This man, and that's fine. But it sucks that men would look at a woman like that because she was raised by her mother. Because I think of the outstanding job my mother did with me and how she made sure that she provided tremendously, and I had great male role models around me. And I don't think that having a father or not having a father would have made me like. I think that it depends on the morals that your mother puts into you. It depends on what she builds in your life for you. I was in the best schools. I was in extracurricular activities after school. My mom did a really good job shaping me. So just speaking for the women who are out here raising kids alone because a man wasn't able to either step up and take the responsibility or make sure that his child was a priority, it's unfair because it's now like kids are being looked at as not as I don't even know the word for it. like less than, because if a woman didn't have a father, it's a lot of women that are getting touched by their dads. There's a lot of women who are getting mistreated by their dads, abusing the mothers in the home, putting trauma on the girls because they're fighting them, cheating on them, leaving them. There's so many different things that men are doing in these relationships. So it's not always good that the guy is in the home if he's not a good man. There's a lot of men in the home, dads, but they're not fathers. So a lot of people are not even getting the proper upbringing that you might think, just because it's a 2-family home. It could be a lot of trauma going on in the household as well with fathers.
I'm not going to disagree on, just traumatic people bringing on traumatic situations to other people. But what I will say is, like, all right, if you think about it, you had extracurricular activities, you played sports. Did you still miss your dad?
I miss my dad. He wrote me letters.
But that's what I'm saying. What happens is, as the other
my
parent,
dad, but I did have, someone that came in and did also like fill the void of that, and also did a great job, and also like made me understand, what it's like to have that male. I had a male role model in my life, and someone who was a provider, someone who's a protector, someone I could run to, someone who he was like my hero. Like when once I didn't have my dad anymore, so I just don't think it's always just a negative thing if a woman, if a kid doesn't have, if a woman doesn't have her father in her life. Because just like for you, you had someone else step in and stand in place for you not having your dad, correct?
Yeah, and that's why I'm telling you that's bullshit. Because we can sit here and we can try to mask it up and make dog shit look like caviar all we want. At the end of the day, there's nothing that could fill that void. Your parent, my mom was a single mom, your mom was a single mom at one point, right? Our parents put us in extracurricular activities, basically busy work, right? Like it's going to shape you. But if you are too, like when you're a kid and you don't have that other parent and you're asking where they are, you want to know. And even if
But
they
that's
told
like
you,
saying you today are a failure because you didn't have your biological father. That's like saying you today are not a great man, because you're a great man, you're a great father, you're a great provider, you're a person that comes to work and does what you have to do, and you are successful in life. So what does you having your biological father have to do with who you are today? If you were raised properly, or if life is going to shape you and
I
mold
also
you.
was arrested 3 times.
Well, you here
I
today.
also, yeah, but by the
Were you
grace,
convicted?
I was convicted once.
That's actually
I was convicted once and arrested twice.
Did you do
And,
jail time?
and people with fathers
No.
go through the
All
same
right.
thing. People with
But
fathers
that's
go through
because
worse.
I had
People
money.
kill their parents. People have 2-family homes and kill their parents.
But wait,
People
I'm
go
not
through-
going into I'm not getting into the semantics with you today.
Yes, you are,
right?
because guess what? I'm not
Let's
done.
stay on
Go in
topic.
the hole.
That we're not saying that you're a bad person, and I'm not saying that you can't succeed in life because you don't have a parent. That's not what I'm saying. What I'm saying is you end up going through the same cycle that has been really in place for people to go through. So as a woman, but women tend to become more promiscuous, or they tend to become emotionally undeveloped and unintelligent. As a man, you don't tap. Oh, I can't speak for all men, but as this man, I didn't tap into emotions. I didn't care about emotions. Emotions did not mean nothing to me. And then guess what? I was also in a survival mindset too. So now I have 2 things against me that I'm trying to battle and overcome. A lot of people don't make it out. I am one. You are one. But a lot of people do not make it out.
I think your view on people with women with fathers and women that don't have fathers is just a little tainted, because that's what would be politically correct, right?
I think it's fair. Just like you saying, I will not date a woman whose daddy wasn't around to raise her well or whatever. It's just like a woman saying, I'm not dating a man who don't have no money.
Mhm.
I'm not dating a man
Money?
who can't pay a mortgage. As a baseline, I'm not dating a man who, doesn't have a certain type of career because his career doesn't mesh with my world. His career, his friends, his X, Y, and Z, whatever. So you having that preference is 1,000% fair, because you don't want to do the labor of it.
Mhm.
Just like a woman will say, I don't want to deal with the labor of being with a broke man. I don't want to pay my own mortgage.
I just want to jump in your body.
Thank you. You know what I'm saying? So I have nothing against what Rico was saying, because all it is a preference, and we're all entitled to that. However, I had a question
Mhm.
to both of y'all because I wanted to understand. I just want a point of clarification. Is it a girl who did not have a father for whatever reason, or is it a girl who had a father who chose not to raise her, who chose not to be involved? Because you could have a father that dies, a father that
Got incarcerated.
I wouldn't say
incarcerated, who's mentally unstable, unfit to even raise a child. Like, so is it more so like the parents that literally could have been there and they choose not to, or is it just all of them?
I would say 75% of all. There are very few reasons, like obviously like the death. If like let's say you were 3 years old when your father passed away, that's entirely different. He was there, whatever have you. 9 times out of 10, the mother is there to probably tell good stories about your father, and you can live with a certain amount of peace with that. When we're talking about a father who was never there, a father who came in and left, a father who may have been arrested and let's just say he did, I don't know, 15 years. And then when he comes back out, he's still the same person. Really, because that kills their hope on trying to really bond with them for the first time.